Hey guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to FemEd. Today I wanted to talk about getting started with a menstrual cup, kind of some of the things to look for when buying a cup. I remember the first time I heard that menstrual cups were a thing, I learned about it. I don't remember how I discovered it, but I remember thinking like, you put what where? How do you put that there? How does that go into there? And I just remember being very confused. I was in college at the time and I remember going to, I believe it was like an American history class or something like that. We were having a group project discussion thing. I don't know how menstrual cups came up, but I remember saying to my group, did you guys know that this was a thing? Like isn't that crazy? Isn't that weird? And another girl in my group, of course, was like, yeah, what's the big deal? Like, I've used one before. And I was like, oh, dang it. I feel like a jerk, but I won't go into it too much. But I love using menstrual cups so much more than tampons. I have really changed my perspective from like that class to now of like, guys, this crazy thing that people use. Like, have you ever heard of it? I watched a lot of videos and I read a lot of different blogs trying to like suss out the difference between the cups. Menstrual cups are obviously more expensive than a box of tampons, but they last you a lot longer. I think the cost trade-off, these are much cheaper in the long run, but it's more of an upfront cost than a box of tampons. So like me and everyone else, when I was going to buy my cup, I wanted to make sure I was getting the perfect cup for me and that I wasn't messing it up and I wasn't wasting money. But of course, I had no idea what I was looking for in a cup at that time. The first cup I ever bought was this one right here. It is a cup from Lunette. It is their blue color, I think it's Selena, and it is the smaller of the two sizes. And I really lucked out because I freaking love this cup. I think it's great. It was a great cup to start with. I would be just fine using this for the rest of my life, but of course, within my line of work and my interests and everything, I had to get more cups. So today I wanted to chat about what to look for in a cup when you're trying to choose one online and kind of some of the difference between the cups that I have tried in an effort to make this process easier for you. The first and most obvious choice you have often is a difference in size. Most companies offer two different sizes based off of whether you've given vaginal birth or not. Have a light to medium flow cup and a medium to heavy flow cup. So when you're looking at a particular brand, just go in and see how they kind of base their sizes. Usually it's between whether you've given vaginal birth or not, but sometimes it's if you have a heavier flow, you want a bigger cup. These are two of my like example cups that I got from Lunette. They have holes in them, so you can't use them. You can see that this one is bigger than this one. This is the size that I have. And then this way, you can see that this one has a wider diameter than this one. It's not a huge difference, but it's a very slight difference, and so that's just something to look out for when you're buying a cup. The next deciding factor is how long or short of a cup you need, including the stem. This is a Lunette cup and this is an Organic cup. So you can see right here that this cup is slightly shorter. The white cup is slightly shorter than the orange cup. And why this matters is some people have a high set cervix and so they need a longer cup, and some women have a low set cervix so they need a shorter cup, or they're going to have to trim off most of the stem. I am personally one of the gals with high set cervix, so I like all the stem I can get. Even though like I've used both of these cups and I like both these cups even though they're slightly shorter. And I guess this isn't something you know until you have tried a cup before. You don't know if you need more of a stem or less of a stem. So I think it's good to have a cup that has a bit more of a stem so you have the option, because you can always trim a stem, but you can't obviously add more onto your cup. You obviously don't want the stem hanging out of you once you insert it. Once you do insert the cup, you shouldn't feel anything. It should just be like a tampon or anything else. You do want to give it a little bit of time to kind of settle inside of you. Mine always kind of settles up a bit. And so while just a tiny bit may be sticking out at the beginning, you know, within 30 seconds to a minute, it's got sucked up towards my cervix. So when you first get a cup, you're going to want to insert it and make sure it's in right and that it's kind of settled to where it's going to sit. And then you want to see how much of the stem you need to trim off. And I would trim it little by little. And you can just use regular scissors when you're trimming the stem, but make sure when you trim it, you don't trim it with some sharp edge. And if you do like make the first cut and there's something kind of pokey, retrim that to where it doesn't have a jagged edge. The next difference you're going to want to look for in a cup is how rigid or flexible it is. Some people like more rigid cups. Some people like more flexible cups. Personally, I like more flexible cups. I think they're more comfortable to insert and remove. The only like rigid cup I have is the Moon cup or MC-UK cup. And this cup is okay. It doesn't sit right inside of me, so it's not my favorite, but it's the cup that one of my best friends uses. But this is a good example to show you the difference between how rigid cups are. So this top pink one is the Ruby cup, and this is the Moon cup or MC-UK cup. And of course so you can see how much quicker the top one flexes before the bottom one. And like I said, I just prefer a more flexible one. I think it's easier to fold, it feels better to insert, and it becomes more flexible with time too. I definitely haven't used the Moon Cup as much as the Ruby Cup, so in that sense this one is a bit more flexible because of that. I just prefer a more flexible cup. So obviously it's hard to know how flexible or rigid a cup is just by like looking at it online. One of the best things I have found is going on to YouTube and searching comparison videos between different brands of cups, and that gives you kind of a better idea of how flexible a cup is. I would say those are the big differences that I see within cups. Now, in an effort to do kind of my part in sharing and comparing the cups I've used, so I'm going to quickly go through 4 cups today: Lunette Cup, Organic Cup, Moon Cup, and Ruby Cup. Let's talk about Lunette at first. This is the first cup I used, like I said, and I think this one is fairly flexible. I think it's a really good beginner cup because I think it's very flexible without being too flexible. So I think it's the right amount of give to make inserting it and removing it easy, as well as getting it to pop open. And I think it has a nice long stem that you can customize the length to whatever fits your body the best. Next, let's talk about the Organic Cup. It's smaller than the Lunette Cup. I don't think so much in how much it holds. I think it's like 1 centimeter shorter than the Lunette Cup. This one still works for me. It's still long enough. I do enjoy the Organic Cup as well, and I think it's nice and flexible. It might also be a little bit more flexible than the Lunette Cup. The C fold for both of them is very similar, so I think these are both great cups. The next one I want to talk about, I just dropped on the floor. I'm gonna have to clean all these afterwards. One of my favorite cups is my Ruby Cup, and it has hair all over it now. Oh my gosh. This one is probably the most flexible of the cups I own, but I think it's because I use this one the most. It is the same length as the Organic Cup. So if you can see right here, the Ruby Cup is slightly shorter than the Lunette Cup. If you can see here, the Organic Cup is slightly bigger in that it just holds more. In size-wise, it's not different at all. The final cup I'm going to talk about is the Moon Cup, or the MCUK Cup. And I think this is the most rigid out of the cups I have. This probably has the biggest stem out of all of them. And I just felt like this was jabbing the side of my vagina, and so I trimmed it actually because I couldn't get it to settle up to the right. This one sat lower than the rest of my cups, and so I trimmed it. It's about the same length as the Ruby Cup and the Organic Cup where I've trimmed it to. So this one is just a bit more rigid, and I just had problems with it settling correctly and not jabbing me. I know a lot of people like this one. One of my best friends uses this. Don't not get it, but personally it just wasn't, I don't reach for this one. All right, that is what I have to say about those 4 cups, kind of some of the things to look for when choosing a cup, and I hope this helps in some way if you're searching for a cup. Don't forget to subscribe to Femhead for more videos like this. Go ahead and give this video a like if you want to hear more videos talking about period products. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!